Hello and welcome back to part 5 of our 45 RPM record collection, box 4. And we're starting off here with Smokey Robinson doing Cruising on a Sunday afternoon. And the B-side of that being Ever Had a Dream. We're really going to get into some odd stuff in this episode. Some things I don't even recognize. Billy Paul, Me and Mrs. Jones, not a song I know. But the B-side is rather interesting because it's a cover of the Elton John, Bernie Taupin song, Your Song. And you can tell everybody that you've heard this song, even if you haven't heard the other. And now we've got another odd one, Goose Creek Symphony, doing Rush on Love. Again, not a song I know, but here's another one where they've done a cover song, Oh Lord, Won't You Buy Me a Mercedes-Benz, which most of you probably recognize as Janis Joplin having done that. I don't know if she did it originally. She wrote it, so Janis Joplin and M. McClure, so I'm assuming she did it originally, and this is a cover. So there's 245s, the songs I don't know, but covers that I do, so that's interesting. And now we're getting into some country and western stuff, and I'm not a big fan of country and western, but I do like novelty songs. And some of these I recognize. The Beer Drinking Song by Mac Davis. That's just kind of a bit of a funny tune. And the B-side of that was You Are So Lovely. And I've got a ton of country and western 45s that I've accumulated up from buying random boxes that I was going to, give them away to charity. And Wife's like, no, you should at least film them because even though you don't appreciate them, there are people out there who will. And so I will get around to doing those before I let them go. But here's Charlie Rich doing The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, which I would consider to be more pop than country. He was a country artist, but that definitely was a crossover song for him, I believe. And a B-side being I Feel Like Going Home, which doesn't ring any bells. And then we've got one here that, the Oak Ridge Boys doing Elvira. I do like Elvira, but the song, it's kind of a fun song. It's kind of a novelty song in my opinion. And I know it's not associated with Elvira, but can't help but think of her when you hear that name. And the B-side of that being A Woman Like You. Yeah, A Woman Like You, Elvira. That's what we need. So, here's a really funny one. She Got the Gold Mine, I Got the Shaft by Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed did a number of novelty songs. He did tend to slide over into the comedy. It wasn't just with the, what were those movies he did with Burt Reynolds? Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah. And then B-side that's 44, which I don't know either one of those songs, but the title made me want to share that one with you. Like I said, I just picked out a few of the countries and that I'd go ahead and show. Hank Williams Jr. doing Family Tradition. Everybody knows that song. You don't have to be a country fan or a Hank Williams song to know that song. And the B-side being Pain on Time. So, and then this one was big back in the day when I was a kid, 1975, Glenn Campbell doing Rhinestone Cowboy. And he came out of the Wrecking Crew. Glenn Campbell got his start at the Wrecking Crew. And if you don't know about them, there's a great documentary that I'd recommend you get a hold of and watch about the Wrecking Crew. And they did the backing tracks for a lot of group songs, Sonny and Cher, and lots and lots of people actually. But a very interesting story if you don't know it. Look into the Wrecking Crew. But that's where he got his start. That's where he came out of before he went solo. And the B-side being Country Boy, You Got Your Feet in L.A. So, sticking with the country novelty songs more or less here. If Drinking Don't Kill Me, Her Memory Will by George Jones. May not be a novelty song, but it's a novelty title in my opinion. It makes you laugh when you read it. Brother to the Blues being the B-side. So, like I said, I've never listened to any of these B-sides on these. Lacey J. Dalton, Hillbilly Girl with the Blues. I don't know her, don't know the song, but it's a funny title. Makes me kind of smile. Hillbilly Song with the Blues. And then Lacey J. Dalton's B-side was Me and You, which, again, not something I recognize. And it's the last country for right now. Hank Williams Jr. doing Dixie on My Mind, which, again, is not a song I recognize. Nor The Rambling Man. To me, that's an Allman Brothers song. Lord, I was born a rambling man. But I don't believe it's the same song. This was written by Hank Williams Jr., and I don't think that the Allman Brothers were doing a Hank Williams Jr. cover at the time. Plus, that's from 1980, and the Allman Brothers did it in the 70s, so no, it's clearly not the same song. And here's one that's funny, Grease Lightning by John Travolta off of the Grease soundtrack. It was recently pointed out to me that the original lyrics for this song is kind of dirty, and yeah, look them up online. It is kind of surprisingly dirty on some of the lines, which I never really noticed before. So they even have alternate lyrics written for schools to do plays with because of the controversy over the lyrics, which I never even heard anything about until about 6 months ago. But the B-side of that has Sha Na Na doing Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay. Of course, that's all from Grease. And our next one up is another one from Grease, which has John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John doing Summer Nights, which is it's a good song. I like Grease Lightning better, but Summer Nights is a good song. And then Louis St. Louis doing Rock and Roll Party Queen takes up the B side of that release. Then getting into some pop, 70s pop. I don't think it's quite disco, but it may be borderline. Annie Gibb doing Love Is Thicker Than Water. The Bee Gees, the Gibb brothers, they had a successful career coming out of folk music before they started doing disco. And the B-side of this being Words and Music. But the Bee Gees definitely found a niche and hit it big with the disco. Now this is a repeat from just a previous video. It was in this box. I didn't catch it, didn't match it up. But Sean Cassidy, Do, Ron, and Holiday. Yeah, we already looked at that one, I think, in the last video or the video before it today. And Tom Jones, She's a Lady. Whoa, 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 I like that song. And My Way, I'm not sure if that's the one that Frank Sinatra did. Or what, but don't recognize it by the title, have to put it on. But that's what it makes me think of. It makes me think of Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way. And then Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline. We have seen this one in a previous video, and I have 2 copies of it here. I will briefly show you the second copy. B-side first, Dig In. And the reason why I'm going to briefly show you the second copy is because this is another incident where we've got the same release with a slightly different font. You can see that Good Times Never Seem So Good added as a subtitle to it, and just the overall printing is different, even though it's on the same label. So wanted to just kind of quickly show you that second copy there just because of the variance in the printing. We got Carly Simon doing You're So Vain. And I think she wrote this about Warren Beatty. I could be mistaken. I saw an article recently mentioning something to that effect as well. But yeah, I do believe that she was talking about something personal there. And his friends are more than fond of Robin. She did some Winnie the Pooh stuff, some soundtrack songs. That was one of them. And one more thing about You're So Vain that a lot of people might not realize is Mick Jagger does backing vocals on that. And if you really listen close to the end, you can clearly make out his voice on that track. Here we got the Four Seasons doing Big Girls Don't Cry. I remember really liking that song a lot when I was in elementary school. I used to sing it. And the B-side being Connie O, which I don't know. And I know I said that we'd wrap this up in this 5th episode at the end of the 4th episode, but I don't think we're going to quite make it. So there will be a 6th episode to wrap up this box. I'll probably have to pull a few more off of a different stack just to fill it in, but we aren't going to finish it here on this run. So, the Partridge Family, I think I love you, so what are you afraid of? Like the Partridge Family, enjoyed the Partridge Family, and Somebody Wants to Love You being the B-side on that. I was all about Susan Day when I was a kid, but now I'm all about Shirley Jones when I watch that show. And Shirley Jones aged well. She still looked good. Did you see her in Grandma's Boy? That was a good one. Anyways, Steelers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle with You. We may have done this one in a previous video as well. And the B-side being Jose, which don't recognize. Stuck in the Middle with You is brought back into the forefront with Reservoir Dogs. Quentin Tarantino used that to great effect during a torture scene. And then here we got Harry Chaplin doing Cats in the Cradle, which I always thought was Cat Stevens until I ran across the 45 and bought a 45, and it's like, okay, that's not Cat Stevens, it's Harry Chaplin. And the B-side on that was Vacancy. But it's kind of funny that the next one in the box here was a Cat Stevens, Morning Has Broken. So there you have it. With the B-side, I Want to Live in a Wigwam. Well, that sounds like a novelty song. It's definitely a novelty title, if anything. Alrighty, so let's just go ahead and wrap this one up with Crispin St. Peter's doing the Pied Piper, because we're going to really get into some obscure stuff in the last final part of this box. B-side being Sweet Dawn, My True Love. So come back for the wrap up and you're going to see some really strange different stuff that I don't know.